Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. Hope you've been doing extremely well. So, to give you a quick update, I'm about to record part 3 of the audiobook for chapter 8 of Freemasonry and Ceremonial High Magic. That's about the Master Mason chapter. So, if you're interested in learning more about Freemasonry and what it actually is, because there's so many misinterpretations out there, while you're still getting also a good taste of the symbolism of the ritual, like what the allegory represents and what the symbols represent, kind of pulling from all different sources. Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, of course, and Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, kind of mixing it in with my own thoughts, my own experiences, and adding magical knowledge to that. Information regarding ceremonial magic, and kind of picking out certain points in key sections where there's a connection between the two is primarily what my book is about. So if you want access to that chapter 8, that is now on tier 2 of the Patreon, which is $10, and I will also be doing exclusive videos, just for that tier. I'd like to get around to doing like a middle pillar video and a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram video on how to perform those at some point. I'm not sure when that is going to take place. That's all, on down the line a little bit. But every chapter of the book will now be on the $10 tier. So you also get access to all the previous stuff as well. So the first 7 chapters and the prologue, you get access to that as well. So really, it's a good deal overall. At some point, I would like to publish the book and, maybe sell it on Amazon and whatnot. I'm not sure really what the process is for that exactly. So I'm going to have to do some research, maybe get some people to help me on that as to what the next steps are. Because I have basically what I would consider volume 1 of the book done, completed. Might need a little bit of editing, grammar-wise, but pretty much all the information that I'm going to have for volume 1 is there. So that includes the prologue in chapters 1 through 8. Now, section 2 of the book is going to cover all the, symbolism and lore and story of the Scottish Rite and the York Rite degrees. And then part 3, or volume 3 of this magnum opus, I guess we could call it that, of Freemasonry and Ceremonial Magic, will be about specifically the different rituals, like the lesser ritual of the pentagram, the middle pillar, all of these sorts of things, how they tie into, the Golden Dawn and different Masons that formed the Golden Dawn, MacGregor Mathers, how all that kind of came into play. That'll be down the road in volume 3 of this, collection of information that I'm basically putting together. An archive of all the mystery teachings. I talk about the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life on there. I talk about the Hermetic principles, the format of the Masonic degree. So there's a lot of information in that book. So if any of this stuff is of interest to you, I highly recommend you check out my Patreon if you have not already. I know a few of you have dropped off of there. And I hope everyone's doing well. I've been thinking about all of you. So yeah, with that out of the way, if anybody ever wants to book a phone call with me as well, or a tarot reading, which I haven't really done much tarot, in a long time. I used to do readings for people, but if that's something that you want to do, or if you want to book a phone call, 30 minutes would be, 50 minutes, or I'm sorry, 30 minutes would be $50. And an hour would be $75. So you'd be saving a little bit more with the hour phone call. And with that, you can talk to me about anything you want to esoterically. If I'm not able to, or if I don't know the information, I will, send you in the right direction or get you a good knowledge base of where to start. That way you can go off on your own and do your own research. I'm not a guru or anything like that. I have done a lot of different practices but I'm not like a magician or anything by profession. Of course, this isn't what I do professionally, but I do have a lot of knowledge when it comes to these things. I'm more scholarly based, which is why I feel really called to write the book that I'm writing. I'm able to express a lot of my creative energy into the book. And just my YouTube channel in general, just putting out different videos of different subjects. And with that, let's get into the subject of today's video. So today's video is going to be about what does it mean to live speculatively? What are the benefits of being speculative? And if we're going to look at Freemasonry, you have traditionally speculative Freemasonry and operative Freemasonry. Originally, it was operative Masons. It was trade guilds and such, medieval stonemason guilds. They got together and constructed edifices such as the cathedrals, a lot of the churches, the historic churches, all of these things. And then sometime in the mid-1600s is when they started to initiate speculative Masons, people who were more philosophic in nature or more like hermits, almost magicians of a sort. So it really started to take on new membership. And that kind of actually saved it from being destroyed. So then there were some particular alchemical changes that took place. If you want to check out Frater RC on his, I think that's the right name of the YouTube channel, Frater RC. I've talked about him before. Check out his new video with P.D. Newman. P.D. Newman is the author of Alchemically Stoned, The Psychedelic Secret of Freemasonry. If you have not checked out this book, I highly recommend you check it out. I've done one video talking a little bit about the prologue and some of the introduction, but I could definitely jump into more of this book. I mentioned this book in my chapter that I just wrote, the Master Mason degree, but I don't go in depth with it at all. Like, I don't even really get into what he's talking about, because I want the person to go off and either you can watch YouTube videos on this, or just get the book yourself, get a copy of it. And there's a lot to be learned from this, a lot of theories put forth, but it's going to give you a much deeper understanding of what early Freemasonry was like, and what some of these different orders, like the Memphis Rite is one of them. Another one is the Rite of Melusino and the Cagliostro Rite. So a lot of these earlier, people don't realize there's a lot of different branches of Freemasonry, and there's a lot of varying rituals over the course of history. So a lot of these older rituals, some of them in these other orders, they include other biblical stories that aren't covered in the normal Masonic degrees. And then one of them was actually about, it was the Memphis Rite. It's all about Odin and all of those gods and goddesses of, different mythologies. Odin's really connected with like the Vikings and such. So I thought that was really interesting. It pulls a lot of different influences in from different eras and from different mystery schools. So it's really interesting to see what these different like Egyptian groups and orders have to offer. And a lot of that can be found online and such. So just all of that as a side note. Let's get into speculative. I think, being speculative and being able to think or ponder about existence, it's one of the things that it kind of always separated me from other people, is I'm always so speculative. I'm always trying to think deeper into things. We see symbols, we come across teachings, we read books, and everything has like a surface layer. It has an exoteric or an outer layer. But when you really get into the innerness of it, or the dimensions of it, you're able to see more dimensions of something. So when you live a speculative existence, you can observe something. You become more of an observer by nature, and you can kind of sit back and watch things. And you'll just be able to pick more out of certain synchronicities. You'll be able to look at something, and maybe something that someone says, or a certain image, a symbol or a word may come up, and you will know the correspondence. You'll just right away, you'll be like, okay, I know what my higher self is trying to tell me, or it has some link to something that you were thinking about earlier or working on earlier. So as you learn more and more about how to observe, how to sit in the peace and the quiet, even our temples, when we work with meditation and such, we usually have pretty bare space. We want to have not a whole lot around us other than like the symbols that we're working with, and that way our visualization, and that comes into play with ceremonial magic and things of that nature. When you're envisioning the angels, you have to have a speculative mind. You have to be able to sit there and not only envision and know that these forces are real, but also be able to manifest them knowing that it's a part of yourself. The way that these angels and the ways that these different cosmic forces are able to be visualized, able to be brought forth, is because they exist within. And that's something I think that every person can sit and speculate about the nature of. In the occult, we get so wrapped up in what is the actual mechanisms of how these things work. How does it work? And sometimes it's more important to just know that it works, the fact that it is powerful. And the more speculative, the more analytic you can be about things. It doesn't always have to be an overly left brain, linear logical reasoning, but even just being able to think or ponder about, to speculate a possibility, opens up a quantum field or a gate, I guess you could say, in a way. Same with the black hole nature of things, which I guess, according to the law of one, when we move through densities, when we get to that last density, it actually ends up going through a black hole, and then it all ends up beginning again. So it's that whole, the encompassing theme of like as above, so below, that meaning or that saying alone has so many different correlations. It opens so many doors. There's so many things that can mean to different people and at different times with different experiences in life, that will signify or mean different things to you, depending on where you're at in your spiritual evolution. Things of that nature. So it is the true tool of anybody. It doesn't matter whether you consider yourself really a magician or not, or whatever practitioner you are, whatever school of thought you come from, whatever your philosophy it is whatever your spiritual background is. That ability to speculate, that ability to know and to bring into being, is the ultimate tools, we could say, of the master magician. And that's kind of how you form your reality. If you're not so much being pulled in this direction or in this direction, back and forth, you're able to center yourself and bring the collective focus, into a centralized point. You can speculate upon the reality you want. You can manifest it through visualization. You can even travel certain places. You start getting into astral travel. You start getting into the astral or the celestial temple when you're working with these different forces. All of these things, you're producing them from within. They're being manifested from within. It's alchemy, alchemical change. When you go through any kind of ceremony or ritual, there is alchemical change taking place. And the deeper you are speculatively, the more you can kind of read into the inner understanding or gnosis. It's coming through actual knowledge. So you are not just theoretically working with source or divine. It's not just a pen and paper type thing and mere words, but it's an actual understanding and experiential gnosis through meditation. And in a lot of ritualistic ways. There are other ways of activating these things, some that could be considered, artificial in nature, but using different tool sets that nature offers and provides too. A lot of the ancient mystery schools, they took different sacraments and whatnot to induce these spiritual experiences. And it was done in such a sacred way. We see the world today using myriads of, substances for what could really be considered profane methods. They don't really have that desire to speculate, to sit and contemplate and realize what their energy is doing and how they are channeling that into how it's bringing about the life that they're living, essentially. And then once you start to see the connections between things, you're like, aha, I realize that every move I make, every transfer of energy, every thought form takes on its existence and it moves on throughout the bounds of space and time. When we learn to sit and speculate upon that experience that we wish to have, that degree of existence, because there's all these parallel realities and doors being opened, these gateways, as we were saying before. I've been reading a lot about the law of one, and they talk about, even angelic forces just being these higher dimensional aspects of our own selves, parts of our higher self. Some of them working more automatically to serve the one source, the one creator. Others, working in a more negatively polarized fashion to really show different aspects of oneself. If source is to know itself, it must be able to speculate. It must be able to theorize, and not only that, experience itself through darkness as well. So that's why it's so important to take into account the light and the dark aspects of, anything pertaining to the metaphysical, the occult, all of these things. But the true goal of being speculative is really being able to, and what I've been able to do and I've worked on a lot more lately, is just being able to enjoy the moment, being able to sit back and relax and embrace that divine feminine energy, that divine flow of the universe, be able to just enjoy life and appreciate the small things. You can extract so much more honey using bee symbology. You can extract that sweetness from the experience of life more, the more you have the speculative power. The power to know that there is more beyond the physical manifestations or the limit of the physical being. There are invisible energies everywhere within us, throughout the whole cosmos. Anything that we perceive speculatively within also exists without. And, I'm almost done. I've listened to the audiobook and read a mixture of both. A lot more probably the audiobook, but I'm almost done with book 2 of the Law of One, and all of the just the infinitude of everything. How there's the 7 dimensions, but then it goes on to the 8th dimension, which starts a different octave of spirituality. So as above, so below, as I was saying before, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on forever. So the spiritual journey is like, it's never done. You can push and push and push and push, but there's just going to be more and more levels of existence. So really it's about finding the place that is, where do you fit into the grand scheme of things? Where is your place and where is your degree of existence? We can speculate on all the higher realms. We study the Kabbalah, we study the Tree of Life so that we can understand these things conceptually, and then through practices like meditation, we come to know these things. We come to know them, as I was saying, just a little bit ago, through actual gnosis, through actual understanding, through actual experiential, reality. We learn of these things. I've been playing a lot more video games lately. Just really not trying to work too hard. Just really, kind of getting back into a grounded space, trying to not get too caught up in my studies and such, because I've been studying a lot. I've been studying hard for the past, really ever since 2014 is when I really started this spiritual journey of self-discovery and it's been wonderful. And being that grandfather spirit sometimes is, I think that's really the true spirit of what a lot of this stuff is. And by that I mean being the old soul, being the one that people can come to and talk to, and you can give them that more speculative understanding, that more cosmic appreciation, if you will, for all things, seeing the source and the creator in all things. It's all connected. Even the things that may seem more mundane or physical, if you are able to glimpse the light in those things and appreciate the beauty that lies therein, there's so much to be gained. There's so much beauty to be had. And I could go on and on. This isn't a super long video. This is only 20 minutes or so. I will be coming out with more YouTube material soon. I'm not sure really which direction I'm going to go with the videos, but I did want to do a video today on this theme. And I think that pretty much covers it for the most part. The theme of being speculative, being able to, we don't always have to go out and get caught up in things, but we can think down the line, what actually is going to help me achieve my happiness, not only in the present moment, but also in the future. What can I do to invest in that bountiful abundance, of beauty and bliss, bringing forth the flower, bringing forth that true tree, that tree of light. As we learn through the muck and the dirt of life, we come to appreciate the soil, and then the flower blooms therein. It's the beautiful things are found in the most simple of places. And, just being able to even appreciate a book like, The Lord of the Rings by Tolkien, a beautiful writer. He puts so much detail into, even just a blade of grass on the ground or a flower. And that speculative ability, that ability to really put imagination, using imagination is key, in magic, or you don't even have to perform magic. You don't even have to do ritual. You can just meditate. You can just speculate upon the infinite creator and awareness which you are. And that opens up all these myriad, all the myriad potentials and archetypes of energy, and the whole universe, the whole cosmos is opened up unto you, and you have access to all these things. All of these different spheres of influence governing the cosmos, you can tap into these different potentials, just like on the Sephiroth, just like the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, tapping onto or into these different Sephiroth to pull from different planetary influences, from different influences that may govern, more the psychic abilities, more the heart center. Yesod, is the plane of sexuality. And then getting into the whole the Garden of Eden, which was originally the celestial abode and existed on Yesod before the plane of Malkuth was formed, after the fall. And a lot of people think there was some mistake to this, blah, blah, blah. No, this is all part of the plan. It's all more getting back to that speculative existence and view of reality. We wanted to discover more as the creator. We wanted to know more. So this whole journey of life, this whole grand thing, it's really just the creator getting to know itself through each and every one of us. So it really is an honor to be a part of this existence. It's an honor to just sit here and talk to you guys about these sorts of things. And yeah, what more can I say? I would love to do a live stream sometime soon as well. So I've just been thinking about all you guys. I know I haven't been posting as much lately. I would like to get back into posting more often, start getting back into actual, notes from books. There's so many things I could get into as I look over on the bookshelf. I could get into the P.D. Newman book. I could get into Liber 420 from Chris Bennett. Could get back into Dante's Inferno. Could talk about more of the technicalities of, ritual, just like things like the cardinal directions. More about, how to invoke the different archangels and reasons for doing so. And, in my opinion, as I've come more into the field of esoterica, I've found that really personal rituals are the strongest. So if you have something that you do, maybe, just intuitively or instinctively, that ritual alone can be, way more powerful than anything you read in a book. So learning how to utilize all these different things, geometry, the different symbols, the pentagrams, the hexagrams, the archangels, you can use these forces as you walk about in your everyday life to, kind of help you deal with different energies, help you integrate and work through different archetypal forces, and really realize at the end of the day that all of these things are reflections of ourselves. And if we want to work with a certain force, we can embody it within our own being and utilize that force. Such as Archangel Raphael. I've been working a lot with that energy lately, and started to get a calling from Michael as well. I've been called to work more with Archangel Michael's energy. So taking those energies into the self and really seeing, rather than being something that you're calling upon, this force is looking through your own eyes, and it's being a force that is channeled within you, that is brought into yourself, so that you can see the world reflected through the eyes of that force, that entity, which is really, just aspects of ourselves in the great cosmic temple. The cosmic temple of self is really the divine mystery, and this can be found, through books, video games, meditation, all of these different things, all of these different mystical influences that have really been around our whole life, and we may have overlooked it. But once you learn to appreciate, once you learn to look within, you will find the mystery and realize that the mystery is you. And the relationship that we have with Source is really our relationship with ourselves. It's our relationship with our divine highest potential. And through that, we learn our purpose here in life, and we come to do that, and we come to channel, the divine potencies of self. And we can use the speculative nature, the speculative techniques, the art of being speculative to be operative bringers, catalysts, bringers of energy, of influxes on this planet, and become teachers, become people who share the good word, all of these things. So, the doors are there for those who are ready. And when someone is ready to walk through them, they will be able to walk through them. And yeah, so the universe is very loving in its nature, just naturally, and it opens up all these opportunities for us to learn to grow, continue to grow, and enjoy the abundance, peace, and prosperity that our existence brings. So when we learn to tap into that inner peace. So that is it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and ring the notification bell for new content. So peace and blessings, everyone. Until next time.